again!
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz and the Roundtable Discussionz, where we talk about all sports all the time. Don't know if you can see him behind his hands, but we've got the truth with me. I think you can all guess how he's doing, but I'm going to ask him anyway. How are you doing, sir?
Relegation dogfight, mate. Relegation dogfight.
Oh dear. Before we start, as usual, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Let's build up the views, let's build up the likes, and let's build up the conversation. Conversation is not just between us. We want you to get interactive. We want you to have your say as well. Before we start, people are dropping like flies this year, man. We want to say RIP to Gerard Houllier. He was actually one of my favorite managers, even though he was a Liverpool manager. I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him. I'm not gonna lie. I did during his time when I was younger. That period of success with Liverpool in the 2000-2001 campaign was amazing. Even though they thwarted us in the FA Cup that season, and I hated Liverpool. I fully respected what he was doing with Liverpool at the time. So, it's a sad loss for the footballing world, that's for sure, especially to Liverpool fans alike and the Liverpool community.
Of course, I mean, I don't think he got the credit that he deserved for what he did at Liverpool Football Club, even though they won the deadest treble there ever was. But a treble is a treble at the end of the day. But RIP to Gerard Houllier. Boy, we're here to talk football. It's Premier League wrap up of the weekend's action, and we've also got the preview because we've got midweek fixtures as well. As you can see behind me, I don't think there's anywhere else better to start for you lot, but not so much for the truth, than to start with Arsenal. Actually, before that, let's get into the results from the weekend in terms of yourself, myself, and Tooth's predictions. What happened with that, Truth?
Bit harder to predict these games, as we all know. Some shocking results all around. Like no one, we all got a few right, a few wrong, but in terms of results, in terms of what was supposed to happen, the favourites, we had those results where the favourites didn't win. We're looking at the Crystal Palace Tottenham game. Everton Chelsea, United City was a bore fest, and obviously us versus Burnley. So the results were Tooth got 5 correct results, TJ got 3 correct results, and I got 3 correct results and 1 perfect result. So it's a bit harder to predict this time, but we still got decent results considering everything. It is hard to predict these games, as you can see.
Shocking from me, absolutely shocking. But we're in a season of the unknown at that moment in time. So even when you think something is nailed dead on, like we all thought Fulham Liverpool was supposed to be a Liverpool win.
So
anything can happen in the Premier League. But I'm back on it. I think these midweek fixtures, I think I'm gonna get my mojo back for the predictions. my mystic Michael is gonna be on job. But we are gonna start. There's nowhere else to start with the Truth's team, Arsenal, 1-0 loss.
Xhaka out.
1-0 loss at home to Burnley. As Truth alluded to, Granit Xhaka getting himself sent off. Truth, before we get into Arteta and Xhaka, just give me your assessment of how you thought the game went before Xhaka got sent off.
Okay, in terms of the actual game, I thought I give the players credit for the heart that they showed and how they played. It was literally one of those games where you can, if results wasn't going as they were, you would take this game, you would take it as it is. We created loads of chances. We were peppering the goal. Pope was, he became Superman, as many keepers do against us. But also our finishing was below par because you could tell our strikers' confidence is at zero. We've literally gone from flipping Alan Shearer to Robert Earnshaw in the space of a few months. Our strikers just cannot hit the back of the net. Shot of confidence in front of goal. They didn't even score from a shot on target. That's the joke. The only shot on target was the one that Leno saved, and it was an own goal. Unfortunately, Oba found the wrong net. When you're locked out, Like,
it's true.
I just want to take look. As a result, it's a bad result. We are in a results business right now, and it was a bad result. But the performance wasn't bad. It's what I wanted to actually see. Good attacking intent. The players gave it their all. Even 10 men down, the players gave it their all. So I'm not gonna get too much on the game alone. I'm not gonna get too much at anyone's back about it. To be honest, like I'm not gonna be overexcited, get ridiculous. I will say Xhaka out though because I'm sick and tired of him. To be honest, but that's a separate matter for me.
No, I hear that. Listen, I mean, from what I saw in the game, every time, I mean, we were shooting boxing talk whilst the game was going ahead, but every time I looked at the TV, like I saw a Burnley player throwing their body in the way. Nick Pope was saving this, like it was madness. It looked like the Arsenal of old, especially in that second half before Xhaka got sent off. Yes. It just looking like it was a matter of time before the deadlock was going to be broken. And so being a neutral outside looking in, I think it was one of the better performances in terms of actually trying to score, which has been difficult for Arsenal at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And then the foolishness happens where Granit Xhaka decides that, I think Granit Xhaka must have been watching UFC the night before, bruv, because he's trying to do the tiger grip on West. Westwood,
oh man,
and gets himself sent off. Time and time again, this guy lets Arsenal Football Club down. However, it was Arteta that convinced him to stay. That Hertha Berlin deal was practically done, but Arteta turned around and said, "Granit Xhaka, we need you," and especially after the disrespect that Xhaka showed the fans when he got sent off. I can't remember who it was against.
Palace.
Against Palace. Bro, before we talk about Arteta and him telling the state, like, what is your assessment of what Granit Xhaka did in the Burnley game, and can he ever put an Arsenal shirt back on again after being sent off?
Firstly, I'm gonna give my personal thoughts about it. Personally, I've always said Granit Xhaka is one of those players that has proven for 5 years in a 38-game season you cannot rely on this man. Okay, whether it's a defensive lapse in concentration, or a ridiculous tackle that gives away a goal, or seeing the red mist like he's done so many times in his career, we cannot rely on this type of player to be a linchpin in midfield. That's not the type of player that you need in midfield. The games are won in the midfield battle, and having this guy as the main guy, one of the main guys in midfield, you can't do it. You just cannot do it. And again, he's reared his ugly head. For me, cost us points. It's not the first time. If I got the history books out, I'm a history guy myself. I can run through games where Xhaka has cost us points off the top of my head. I think back to that Tottenham game where he slid in on Son. I think back just last week. For me, he doesn't, closing players down, letting people get shots off when Son struck it. Last week, I could think back to that time he got the red card against Fulham. I think that's one of the early red cards, a rash tackle. in one of the early seasons. He just keeps on doing it time and time again. And enough is enough. Enough is enough. It's time to go.
Hmm.
If any money that we could get from him in January, and just to finish off the point, I think Evra played beautifully. I don't know if you saw that
No, I
clip
haven't.
about
I
Xhaka. Oh,
haven't.
this is what Evra said. It was damning. It was damning, and I don't think Henri is going to appreciate that Evra said this, but Evra was like, he went to Henri's house one day. Henri invited him over, and they were watching the Arsenal game, and then Xhaka was captain. This was actually before the Crystal Palace game, so the game before the Crystal Palace game.
Mm.
And Xhaka was walking out as captain, and Henri turned it off because he couldn't stand Xhaka walking out. I think that is damning. That is absolutely damning, but it is true. Xhaka, as captain of this club, shows how far we have fallen because he's not captain material. He's not Premier League quality for me. He could play in Germany, he could play in Italy where it's slower, but this league has passed him by. Um, Whatever form he showed when Arteta come in has totally gone. As I said, we don't want those players that you can't rely on. We need reliable players, and he is definitely not one of them. So for me, I do not want to see him no more. I'm tired of it. He's dead wood to me. But obviously, in this coronavirus time, selling players is a lot more harder than it needs to be. So the all likelihood he'll probably play for Arsenal again, even though I don't want him to.
I hear that. Listen, for me, like I just don't see what it's about. Who brought him in? Was it Wenger that
Wenger.
brought him in? Wenger
Wenger is
brought
a
him in.
joke. Imagine this, yeah. Imagine this. Hear this. Hear this. And this is the kind of joke that we became. 2005, no, 2016, Leicester won the league.
Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Kante, midfielder of the year. That same season, Chelsea finished 10th in the league. 1-0 out of Europe, out of anything. Chelsea finished 10th. Leicester won the league. Kante, midfielder of the year. Imagine for 30 million, we could have gone and got N'Golo Kante. And we would have probably, imagine we got N'Golo Kante that season. We would have won the league. I think that's it. Because he's the player that we were missing.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, who do we go and buy? We go spend 34 million. 4 million more on Granit Xhaka.
Listen, I remember when I saw that because I think there was an article when Wenger when Voya left Arsenal, there was a thing that went out about all the players that he could have potentially gotten, and I saw Kante and I was like, bro, Kante is French and he was cheaper, so I don't.
And he was an Arsenal fan.
I don't get why Voya decided not to do it and go and buy Xhaka, bro. Like I'm never gonna buy Xhaka. Like he's just a ticking time bomb. Like like he just gets a yellow card. You just know he's gonna get a yellow card. And I'm surprised he plays so many games because surely the amount of yellow cards. The amount of yellow cards that he gets, surely he must get banned. Like he must hit the threshold to be banned for game for the amount of yellow cards that he gets.
I couldn't explain to you. I couldn't explain to you what people see in Xhaka. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you where you can play Xhaka.
Is it because he's left-footed?
I think that's it. I think that's okay. One thing Xhaka has that not many people has, he could spray a ball, but he can spray a ball. Anyone can spray a ball if you give them time and space. Xhaka needs about 3 hours to spray a perfect ball. He needs to set himself. He needs to to get the ball on his left foot because you can't use his right foot at all. He's one-footed. If you chop with his right foot, it wouldn't even matter to him. And he'll get his head up and find a pass, but that's it. Nothing else he does. He can't tackle. He can't read a game. As you said, he's a hothead. I don't know. Apparently, he doesn't have leadership qualities to me. It's a shock. It's a shock. So this just shows our transfer system, what it became, and how much of a joke our club has become at the time with these kind of transfers and signings.
That's mad. Personally, like for me, Bro, like he should never put an Arsenal shirt on again. Never, ever, ever, because he's a joke. He's an absolute joke, bro. Absolute joke. And I'm telling you right now, that man there in Albania are glad that he plays for Switzerland. I'm telling you, bro, because you don't want him in your side. Like he's a joke, man. He's just a hot. He just goes out and them guys on Sundays, yeah.
Yes.
On grassroots football, bro.
That
are
exactly
so crap, bro. They just crap. They just go out there just to kick people. One people out.
That's what he is.
That's what he is. In the Premier League.
That's exactly what he is. I couldn't put it better myself. If you play Sunday League football, you know these type of players.
I'm telling you, bro, but he's dead food. But in saying that, as I said when I brought this up, it was Arteta that convinced Granit Xhaka to stay, as is another person that's been getting the blame, Bellerina. Another person who looked like he was on his way out, and Arteta convinced him to stay. I'm not going to talk about Bellerin because it's a waste of time, bruv. He's rubbish. But I do want to talk about Mikel Arteta. I'm not going to disrespect the man's name and call him whatever everyone else has been calling him. Bro. All right, I got some stuff here. Right.
Here we go.
Right. 12 games gone. 7 losses, 4 wins, 1 draw. 13 points from 12 games. That loss against Burnley was the 4th in a row at home. And it's the first time since 1959 that has happened to Arsenal.
Whoa.
Lowest goal return since 1981. That's when I saw that. I was just like, what? 12 points behind Spurs. 10 points off the top 4. 5 points from relegation. And what was the last one that I had? The last one is only Liverpool and Everton have made more changes than to their starting 11 than Arsenal this season. When I say all of that to you, is Arteta out of his depth? Is it time to say out of his depth? Is it time to say, sorry, mate, but this can't go on. This can't continue. You're not doing the business. And look, at the end of the day, we can say he is learning the job. It's his first managerial position. But I think something that also caught my attention and made me think, oh my gosh, you're right, is bro, we're in December. And normally when we're in December, yeah, and they do that halfway stage in the Premier League, and we're talking about people being in the bottom 3, never usually get out of it. The form that Arsenal are in, that is relegation form. So considering all of that, I know it's a lot, but all of that, is it time to say thanks for your time, but this isn't for you. You need to go elsewhere to learn your trade and build yourself back up, because Arsenal Football Club is way too big for you?
So it's a hard one, because I'll tell you what one of the issues is. One of the issues is in terms of what we are. So we're having a poor run of form, and unfortunately, he doesn't know how to get us out of that rut. Because as you said, his lack of experience, a more experienced manager would have pulled a win out of somewhere by now, basically. And that would have built confidence. He just can't manage to get that win out of somewhere. Like, even if it's an ugly win, just pull it out of somewhere. We can't seem to even do that right now, which is shocking. I want to defend him. I do want to defend him. But realistically speaking, Arsenal can't be where they are.
No,
they can't. I think Chelsea when they sacked Mourinho in 2016, 2015-16, they were 1 point above the relegation zone when they sacked him. How far are we willing to let it go? How far are we willing to let it go?
This is it.
For me, it's gonna come down to the players. I think the board will have to get the players and be like, are you actually playing for the manager? If they are, then let him carry on and let him try to get the best out of the squad, because if he does turn it around, I believe it will be a big turnaround. And we'll go from strength to strength, because this is rock bottom. But if the players are like, some are giving smatterings of discontent and are not happy, we can't have that. So he'll have to go. I'm not calling player power, but it's a thing where you need to gauge, can we get out of this situation with Arteta in charge? If the players are fully behind him, fully supporting him, then I believe he stays, and let him turn it around. But if there's about 3 or 4 in that squad that are saying, you don't know, and if they're senior players as well, we can't have that, because players talk at the end of the day. Players are unfortunately, you can't sack the players. So that's the position. That's the position I'm in. I don't want him to go, but realistically speaking, how long can we be in a relegation scrap?
I'm telling you. I mean, do you think he's lost the dressing room? Do you think them players have just said, you know what, this guy isn't doing what we're supposed to be doing? We're not playing the way we're supposed to be playing. We're nowhere near where we're supposed to be in the table. Is it a case of now some of the players, not all, but some of the players have down-tooled and said, nah, I'm not feeling it. We need someone else. Do you think he's lost the dressing room?
I don't know, I really... because it's not like we're seeing players not giving effort. That's the thing. It's not like we're seeing players walking around, trudging around. Everyone's giving a lot of effort. So it's like at the end of Mourinho's time at United, players were down in tools.
Yeah.
People walking around, knowing. At the end of Pochettino's time at Tottenham, people like Eriksen not even giving a care in the world no more. There's some players that just didn't want to play no more. I'm not seeing that yet under Arteta. I'm not seeing it yet. As I said, the game against Burnley, these guys were giving their all, even after 10 men. So I can't say if players have down tools or not, or if I can't tell you if he's lost the dressing room. Only they can tell you that. I can't tell you if he's lost the dressing room.
Fair enough. Does Arteta need to make a statement? Does he need to say, guys like David Luiz, Granit Xhaka, Bellerina, Rob Holding, you guys just need to drop them completely? And listen, you lot are unbeaten in the Europa League. I know the teams aren't, do you know what I mean? And I think Tu said it yesterday about the pressure. There's no pressure in the Europa League like there is the Premier League. But is it time to say, I mean, for example, Bellerina, you've got Cedric Soares and Maitland-Niles that can take his place. I think it's a little bit more difficult at centre back, but you've in terms of dropping Rob Holding and David Luiz, because then that just leaves you with Mustafi.
No, but in fairness of Rob Holding and Gabriel, they haven't played badly at all.
Gabriel. No, not Gabriel. Gabriel's a good player. I like him a lot. But Rob Holding just doesn't look like the Premier League's for him, and David Luiz is David Luiz. Do you know what I mean? Xhaka shouldn't be anywhere near the team. But then when you look at it, what's he got left? He just got Elneny and Ceballos. I know Maitland-Niles is a centre midfielder, but I just don't think he has the football IQ to play there.
Try him there. Look, for me, we're in a position where, as I said, Bellerin, Xhaka, they have proven for 5 years now that they cannot be relied upon. I don't know why we're trying to rely upon them now. Like if a guy is telling you he's a horse for 5 years, then maybe you should start thinking that he's a horse. You know, these guys are not proving, they've never proved it, so why start now? I fully agree with you. Play the youngsters. Willian should be nowhere near the team. Why is he starting?
Mm.
You know, as much as I like Arteta and I want to give him time, he's not free of criticism.
No, no.
No manager is free of criticism because a few of his decision making, in terms of Willian playing every game, when you got Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, just to try. As I said before, I'd rather a young person fail than a experienced person fail.
Because they've got no fear, and my whole thing is that it's not working. Whatever you're doing is not working. It's not working for ages. So you might as well just put a couple of the kids in there and just see what happens. Do something different. I know Pepe's ban's over now, so you should be back for the next game.
Hope he comes straight back into the team. So.
But you might as well just throw the kids in, a couple of the kids in, not all, and just see what happens, because it can't be any worse than what we're seeing right now with this Arsenal side. But then that's down to the manager to do these things, because at the end of the day, yes, he doesn't play the game on the 90 minutes on the pitch, but you still pick the team. And what you're doing now is just not working at all. So something's got to give, something's got to change. But I mean, your next 4 fixtures are not helpful. You've got Southampton at home, and Arsenal don't really like playing Southampton at home. You got Everton away, who's just beaten Chelsea. You got City in the cup, but it is what it is, unless you want a trophy. And then on the Boxing Day, you got Chelsea at home. Now, I was thinking about it. I was thinking realistically, even if Arsenal were to say, you know what, we're done with Arteta, as a board, me personally, I'm not bringing a new manager in until after that Chelsea game, because I wouldn't want to bring a new manager into those fixtures. I'd rather wait till after, because I think that the run's a little bit easier after, and bring them in then. But out of if you go out of the cup, is the Carabao Cup really gonna be an issue considering where you're in the league? I don't think so. But Southampton at home, Everton away, Chelsea at home. If Arsenal don't get 4 points, you're saying 2 wins?
2 wins.
Oh, you're saying 6 points out of those 3 games. I said 4 personally, because I think you've got to beat Southampton. You've got to beat Southampton. You lot, to be fair, you lot have got an excellent record away at Everton, and then Chelsea at home. If he loses the next fixture against Southampton, is that it? That's it. Game over. Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bro. Like, is it game over for Arteta if he loses at home to Southampton on? Is that tomorrow or Wednesday?
Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday.
If we lose at Southampton,
that'll be 5 losses at home in a row.
And we wouldn't have won in like 5 games, isn't it?
It's a mad run. Like you lot haven't won in the Premier League since you beat us.
Yeah, I know. If we lose at Southampton, then for me, if I'm thinking from a board level, sacking Arteta now, unless there's a manager already ready to be brought in, will not do anything. I don't know who his number 2 is, but I don't know who would take. I think Metazak will take charge of the team. Really?
Well, the jolly German giant, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So sacking him will not literally do anything. I think you only sack him if we have someone else ready to come in and take charge straight away. I don't think you sack Arteta and put a caretaker manager. I honestly don't. Look, last year, the Lundberg thing didn't work out.
No.
Never worked out.
But surely the board must be talking to people. Surely.
Not our board. Not our board. Our
Fair enough.
flipping, what do you call it, owner is getting ready for the Nuggets to start their season. He's living life there, mate. Freaking, we're just chaos all over. So I doubt they're talking to anybody. We're amateur when it comes to anything above the football pitch. Well, we're amateur on the football pitch, on and off the football pitch right now. So yeah, we're amateur all over. So look, if we lose to Southampton, he'll be deeper and deeper. The hole's just getting further and further away. So I don't think he'll get sacked though. I think, as you said, the Chelsea game, it might come down to the Chelsea game. If there's no win, we go into the Chelsea game and then we lose the Chelsea game. That's it. We can't lose 3 in a row from here and then, because we might just be in the relegation zone by then.
It's true. It's not even a joke.
Exactly. It's not a joke. So, Southampton game is important. Let's take it one game at a time and then see what happens.
And it's a Southampton team in brilliant form.
Third in the league.
Third in the league, scoring goals for fun. And all their players are scoring goals. It's not just Danny Ings.
Yeah.
And then it will be Theo Walcott returning to the Emirates, even though he's done it with Everton, but he'll be turning with his boyhood club, Southampton, at Arsenal. But we're going to move, well, it's not really moving away from the doom and gloom, but we are going to move away from talking about Arsenal and talk about that disgustingly boring game on the weekend with United and City. Shocking football match. Everyone should have been docked wages for that disgrace, of a derby. I don't care if Manchester's still in tier 3. Like, there is no excuse for that absolute dog shite of a football match that we saw on the weekend. But Truth, go for it, man.
You know what? Ever since Pep came in, I've always looked forward to the Manchester derby because it's always been exciting. Regardless of how the results have gone, it's always been an exciting game. For the first time since Pep has come in, we saw a Manchester derby where Pep was scared to commit players forward for the first time. I don't know, maybe that's testament to Ollie. Maybe Ollie's finally gained it. No, come on. Whenever have you seen Pep happy to accept a draw and not commit players forward? He was terrified of United on the break. He was terrified. It was shocking to me. But then, we all knew how Ollie was going to play. We all knew it. It's not a surprise, nothing special. We knew that he was going to set up in a way where they're just trying to contain and try to hit them on the break. We were just all shocked at the way Man City approached the game. So I just want to hear your thoughts on the game. And even though it wasn't the best result, considering all other results in the league this weekend, did that buy Ole some much needed time?
Of course it did. It bought him time because we've got a board that want to keep him because he's a puppet. He's a yes man. So as long as he didn't get absolutely destroyed, even if we would have lost that game 1 or 2-0, he would have kept his job. It was a case of if he would have got beaten 3 or more, the board would have had no choice but to get rid of him. But so as far as I'm concerned, even if he lost 1 or 2-0, he was still keeping his job. And he got a point out of it. There was no embarrassment. So he moves on and he keeps his job. Most selfish thing to do as a manager is to basically say to the players, don't go out and play and just save my job for me. And we'll take a point against Man City because of the reputation that Manchester City has. At the same time, we knew either way, even if Ollie's job wasn't on the line, he would have still set up the same way. So there's no difference at all. What was damning for me is how bad City were. They didn't want to commit. You could see De Bruyne was absolutely frustrated
Mm-hmm.
in whatever the game plan was from Pep. Raheem Sterling doesn't play well against us anyway, bro. Wan-Bissaka again had him in his back pocket.
Hey, every time Raheem Sterling saw Wan-Bissaka, he just turned around and passed the ball. There was one time where he literally had him on a one-on-one. He could have done anything. He turned around and passed the ball back. You guys are in their head at least.
Nah, it's when it comes to Sterling, and Wan-Bissaka's got him on toast, bro.
Yeah.
Sterling has nightmares about Wan-Bissaka in his sleep, I'm telling you. No Aguero, which made no sense because he loves playing against us. I don't know if he was injured, but considering he loves playing against us, that was a shock. But then even in saying how bad City were, they still had the best chances in the game.
They did, yeah.
And they should have scored. United did nothing in that entire game. There was a penalty. It would have been a penalty, but Rashford was offside. There was 2 chances where Rashford was put through in on goal, but his terrible touch. Oh Lord have mercy! If this guy had Martial's touch, you know how many more goals he would score.
It's the one thing about Rashford for me. I'm telling you, any other place apart from United, I think he is a mid-table team striker. I just don't see what is good about him apart from his pace. I know he could score a few bangers, but for me, he's just very, very average. Very.
Do you know what is his football IQ is awful. Football IQ is awful, and his touch. If you give him time to think, he's one of the most horrible football players you'll ever see. If he's given time to think, but when he's on fire, he is on fire, right? And like prime example, Leipzig. You give him grass to run into, and he will destroy anybody. Absolutely anybody, and I think that's why people love him so much. I'm a fan of Rashford. I'm not his biggest fan, but I am a fan of him, and I want to keep him at Manchester United because when he gets a proper coach, he will be so much better.
I see what you mean. I probably agree with that. As a coach myself, I don't want to be too harsh on him because I know at this point in time, not many coaches actually want to coach players and improve them. But when you do get a coach that improves players, then you'll see how effective they can be. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, when Poch comes in and starts coaching him properly, you'll see a completely different guy when it comes to Marcus Rashford. But yeah, apart from that, bro, there's
nothing to really talk about.
There's nothing to really talk about. To be honest, it was just a selfish manager who wanted to keep his job against a guy who's under pressure for the first time in his career. Because all the other times, when he's done, because Bayern Munich, it didn't work out. It did not work out at Bayern Munich, and he ran. And Barcelona, obviously, when it started to go south, he left as well. Like. I love Pep Guardiola, but I never wanted him at Man United because a couple of things about Pep for me is he overcomplicates things, starts playing players out of position for no reason, and it looks like he's got 2-3 years and then he's done, and then it's time to move on. And he's on a point now where he signed a new contract at City, even though contracts don't really mean nothing nowadays. But he signed a new contract at City, and he looks like he doesn't know what to do because he hasn't. And I disagree with people that say, all Pep is that he gets the best players and that's how he wins. But the more and more you look at it, is the more and more people that say that is ringing true because he had the best players at Barcelona. Don't get me wrong, he elevated them to another level, but he had the best players at Barcelona. He had the best players in Bayern Munich, and considering when he got there, they were coming off a treble. He didn't fulfill the expectations that were needed at the football club, and now he at City after the 2 years, and then obviously losing the title to Liverpool last season. This is his 4th season there, and now he's starting to question himself because he hasn't replaced the spine. He hasn't replaced company. Fernandinho's old. David Silva's gone, and Aguero's injury prone, and he hasn't replaced that. And what we're seeing now is like you're trying to say the fear of Man United's counter-attack and Oli. Nope, it was not that. It was basically what happened against Leicester. Stuff like that, what happened against Leicester and Tottenham, where they absolutely, as soon as they commit too many players forward and they come up against a top 6 side, they just counter-attack them and absolutely destroy them. And it looks like Pep has no plan B. Pep looks like he's done a Mourinho and basically said, you know what, we're just going to keep it tight at the back and not concede and then hope that we'll win 1-2-0. I mean, look at the game against Fulham last week. They went 2-0 up. Everyone thought, oh, yeah, City are going to run riot. And it just stayed at 2-0. It just looks stale from City at the moment. And
it does.
We'll see what happens, because I would never count them out of the title race, because at the end of the day, they still got the players to do something.
One thing that Pep hasn't done is replace Company, which is a leader. You look on the pitch, and just like with Arsenal, you don't see a player there that's going to galvanize the team and push them forward, and tell players to stop playing, so lethargic. That game was crying out for a Company. The man, it was crying out for a Company, and he hasn't replaced that. And it's something, as you said, is common in all of his managerial spells. He hasn't been able to make a new team. He hasn't been able to do that. And this City team, I think they require, whether it's quality, whether they can find that in the academy, whether they could just buy certain players just to revamp the team. That is what is required. I don't know if Pep's going to do that. I don't see it from him at this moment in time.
No, not at all. Because for me, when I look at that City team, they need another centre forward. Because unfortunately, as great as Aguero is, his time looks like it's up. Yeah. They need a holding midfielder to replace Fernandinho. Like Rodri's not the guy. They wanted Fred. Unfortunately for us, Fred came to us, and they need a proper centre back, man. They need a proper centre back with legs as well. They need a centre back with legs, and they need to sort out their left back position. They have to sort out their left back position. So City have got issues, and there's a lot of stuff that they need to sort out. But I think it's just considering it's still Man United, City should have still won that game. And I think the telling thing for me is how long he took to change it and bring Ferran Torres and Foden on. Like, he took ages to bring them on, and I'm just
and it was like for like. And one thing that was damning, he played a double pivot of 2 defensive-minded midfielders, Rodri and Fernandinho, yeah. Rodri and Fernandinho. I've never seen him play a double pivot like that.
No, never.
It would always be like a Silva or an attacking person, or De Bruyne will drop into that position and they'll play, at number 10. So
or even Gundogan, who's just a centre midfielder, but never 2 CDMs. And I think that was a big fear of the counter attack, because the counter attack has killed Pep so many times. But it was such a stale game, and this is why I call Oli an absolute bottle job, because look at City. City didn't want it. Yeah. And still to this day, this man was just like, nah, man, we'll just take a point. City were there for the taking, Like, everyone was sitting there watching this game and being like, nah, City really don't want it. Like, they're not on it. And instead of Oli being like, you know what? Let me bring Donny on. Let me bring Donny on and see if I can change this game or try and do something different. Let me and he didn't. He just sat there watching Coronation Street and being like, yeah, this 0-0 buys me some more time at this football club. Let me carry on.
What's on his screen?
Coronation Street or Lord of the Rings. He's watching himself, bruv. I'm telling you.
I don't know if you saw, but after the penalty decision got reversed, for some reason, my man was still sitting down and he was shouting at ref. First of all, I was like, who's gonna hear you? You're sitting down in the freaking dugout. At least get up to your freaking come to the touchline and start to the ref.
What you think Ollie's getting up to miss out on Coronation Street, bruv? You must be crazy.
And then second of all, they obviously showed the VAR decision and it was a clear offside. It's not even like it was millimeters or anything. It was clear offside as soon as they drew the lines. So he was well offside. So I don't know. Maybe man was just praying. He was praying for his penalty.
Listen, I think I was watching another fan channel and I saw a stat saying that like what was the stat? Something mad like Ollie never won a Champions League game without there being a penalty or something like that. And at home, I think the only was it at home? At home, something mad like I think it's the only penalties that we basically scored at home that have won us games and stuff like that. Like some mad statistic like that. This is the nonsense that we unfortunately, because City didn't do the job, that we're gonna have to sit here and put up with. And then when I look at the fixtures coming up, Sheffield United away, Leeds at home, Everton away in the Cup, Leicester away on Boxing Day, and the Wolves. That doesn't give me hope that this guy's going anytime soon.
These are the type of game that United come unstuck by because
it's the type of games where they go 2-0 down and then they come back and win the game, brother.
That's true as well.
Everyone thinks Ollie's this master tactician when it's not. It's just the players don't want to lose. That's what I'm talking about.
What do you think about football now? Okay, so we saw at the start of the season, actually we go all the way back to lockdown and we saw teams coming out going gung-ho. There's been a small transition in the last month or so where teams have started being a little bit more pragmatic. They're setting up a bit more, trying not to lose. Almost Mourinho, like that's probably why Tottenham are top of the league right now, because football in the Premier League has almost shifted to probably 2006, 2007 time, 2008 time, where they've started being a little bit more defensive again. All around other leagues, you see high scoring games. You know, I think Dortmund lost 5-1, which got their manager sacked.
Yeah, they got bad.
Leipzig and Bayern Munich drew
3-3.
Yeah, there's been some big scoring games all around Europe. So in terms of attacking football around Europe, they're still attacking, but the Premier League has gone a little bit more defensive from a lot of sides. What do you think about?
I think there's a case. I think there's a case of teams have now realised there's no fear factor because there's no fans in the stadiums. So what's been happening is that both teams have been going gun ho, and as you said in the beginning, we were getting high scoring games, and I think now teams are slowly reverting back to what it was before the pandemic, and I think they're starting to realise now. The league's a lot tighter than what it was. So there's more points up for grabs and you don't want to be losing ground if you're trying to get to the top or in the top four. And at the same time, you don't want to be going into the relegation zone either. So I think it's just reverted back to type a little bit from obviously the pandemic and after to now. But and I think also it's because defending in the Premier League is so poor. Defenders are so poor in the Premier League that teams are having to set up with like 2 CDMs or playing 7 at the back and blah 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 because defending is just so poor and they can't afford to be conceding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in games. It just doesn't work that way. And obviously the pressure's on for managers and they don't want to be getting sacked. So I think those are the big reasons as to why we've seen everyone approach the game a little bit more pragmatically, whereas in Europe they still look like they're playing like they're in the pandemic. I mean Barcelona are losing, Real Madrid are losing, Juve as well. We'll see Bayern Munich 3-3 and all that. So I don't think Europe has caught up to the fact that let's settle things a little bit more now and whatnot and try and actually win league titles. But within the Premier League, because the points up for grabs are so important, it's become a little bit tighter. I think that's why we've seen it. That's why we've seen it go back to somewhat what it was before Corona.
I know you remember because we used to talk on the phone a lot of the time during that 2007, 2011 times where a lot of the big games were very, very tight. I remember a lot of Chelsea United games at that time used to be draws,
Yeah.
dreary affairs. It was chess
Boring.
matches, boring games. When we used to play you guys at the Emirates, tight games.
Mm.
We used to play Chelsea anywhere, they used to get a goal and just lock up shop.
Yep.
We've gone back to that, which for me puts down the spectacle a bit. I think Pep's got a part to play with that, because
They're the standard.
yeah, they're the standard. They're the standard of attacking play, committing people. Since he's gone away from that, other teams are like, okay, even if Pep's Man City are gone away from that, maybe we should be less gung ho as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that's gone on since the lockdown and since the season started.
Of course, man. Of course. But yeah, nothing to speak about in terms of that Den Manchester derby game. It is what it is. It was what it was, and both teams are just going to move on and go forward. The final point I want to touch on before we go into our predictions, we need to talk about the big game of the midweek, which is the top of the table clash between Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. Both teams on 25 points, both teams with the same record as well, 7 wins, 4 draws and 1 loss. Massive game. Mourinho against Liverpool, which have always been tetchy affairs wherever he's been, whether it be at Chelsea, United. I don't know if he played them, if he was at Real Madrid or Inter. I can't put my finger on it if he has or not. Yeah, I don't think he has. But and obviously, like if you look at Mourinho's record against Liverpool, 28 games, 12 wins, 7 losses, 9 draws. So he has a little bit of an indifferent spell against Liverpool, but mainly so in the cup games more than the Premier League. But if we look at it, I got a stat in the last 10 games in all competitions that Spurs and Liverpool have played. It's been 2 draws, 7 wins for Liverpool, and only 1 for Tottenham. So Tottenham's record against Liverpool as a football club isn't great in the past years. But what are you expecting from this game?
Like Mourinho's gonna make it into a Mourinho game. 9 people at the back, including the keeper, and get the ball to Son or Kane and try do something. That's literally about it. And you know what? It might work. Without Van Dijk, Liverpool. We saw Fulham
terrorize.
Fulham took the game to Liverpool, and that could have been out of sight if they had a bit more quality up front. Maybe that may give Mourinho a bit more confidence, but he made us say Kane and Son is enough to unlock this Liverpool defense, because it isn't the greatest. Lookman had Trent Alexander
on toast. I told people about that. Listen, I said, me personally, like, give him a little bit more experience. Reece James is the number 1 for England, bruv. Because he's basically the mixture of Wan-Bissaka and Trent combined, bruv. Trent defending, bruv. Like, if you see that defending on Sunday League, you're going nuts. If this guy couldn't cross a ball the way that he does and played in the system that Klopp has, because I think if he went anywhere else, he would never play. Would never, because he's so bad.
He wouldn't be right back. He wouldn't be right back. He would be a right mid.
I don't think he's good enough to be right mid. I think he'd have to go to it. The only way he would survive is going to a team that played like Inter, where you can play right wing back. It's the only way he would survive.
Yeah,
personally, because
you can't defend.
So bad defensively. But you're 100% right. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So what I was saying. So Mourinho's gonna set up how Mourinho sets up. It's not pretty. As I said, it's not sustainable for me. The way he played Mourinho, this is a remembrance of the time where he won the league under Chelsea. Chelsea that season, 2015, they started the season on fire. They were hammering teams. Come December, they lost 5-3 against Tottenham, and then they limped over the line from the rest of the season. They literally just got over the line because he went defensive, went 1-0 up, started time game. But because football has moved back a step instead of all out attacking, he may be about to fire. But then I saw against Palace why it may not work, because you can't go 1-0 up. And I hate it. As a coach myself, I cannot stand, and I told you this before, I cannot stand Mourinho's style of football, because it's, for me, I'm teaching kids, especially kids in England, to be better with the ball, to be more creative, to be more expressive. So when I see a manager that's trying to say, let us score a goal against a team like Palace and then give up 70, 80% of the possession, it's against my own philosophy. It's against an attacking philosophy. And I'm so glad Palace made them pay.
Yeah, so was I. Because Palace were on smoke, and it's funny that, and that's how you know Maureen is so defensive, because Crystal Palace are the team that do that to others, where they sit back behind the ball.
Exactly.
But you allow Crystal Palace to have the ball, like, come on, man. Like, are you trying to tell me that? And the thing is that it's quite ironic, because obviously Sugarcane had the goal. That goalkeeper made 100,000 saves that he wasn't supposed to make, and then lets in the one that he should have made. Yeah. So without that goal, Crystal Palace win the game 1-0, or they should have won them to win anyway, regardless, because that's how brilliant they played. And it just shows the other side, where in which you can't be, as you said, you can't be going 1-0 up and then trying to hold on and whatnot. You got to, like, as bad as Maureen's side, where for Chelsea, he at least went 2-0 up and then tried to part the bus.
Exactly. And this is a shocking thing. Like, I'm seeing Tottenham actually go 1-0 up and then calling that's it. And it's not sustainable. As I said, you can't give up that much possession. They're playing the same squad in the Europa League, that's in the Premier League. Games are coming thick and fast. His football isn't sustainable. You rest on the ball. As coaching 101, when I'm playing, you rest on the ball. I say, if we get the ball back, that's when our rest comes in. Because that's when we have the ball and the other team has to do the chasing. When we don't have the ball, boom, all hands to level to win that ball back. When you're chasing the game for that long, trust me, it takes out of your legs, and it's gonna pile up. It's going to pile up. If he was to win the league from here on in, then all power to them. I just don't see, this may come back and haunt me because I'm saying on YouTube now, but it's not sustainable for me. It's not sustainable. And I don't want to see him win the league, because it's not good for football. It's not good for football.
Listen, I'm indifferent with Maureen. When he was at United, I hated it purely because I listen, don't get me wrong, like, I've loved watching Mourinho. I'm a Mourinho fan to a certain extent, like, especially his early days at Chelsea and when he was at Inter Milan. So his approach to when he approaches the big games like that doesn't really bother me, to be honest.
Exactly.
It doesn't bother me. But when you're doing it against Crystal Palace, like, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when it becomes a problem, because you shouldn't be doing that. Don't get me wrong. There's some games where, you just got to hold your hands up and say, this small team has come and they're on smoke, and we just kind of have to hang on. But it's not every game you go out and do that. And I know certain Spurs fans will point to the fact that they bang goals against Southampton, and they bang goals against other teams. But now we're starting to see, now that, because obviously the saving grace for Spurs is that they're ahead, and Maureen loves to lead from the front. It's when he's chasing that the issues and the problems come in. But at this moment in time, Spurs fans, as I said, they needed each other. Spurs fans won a trophy, and Maureen wanted to be in London. So them coming together, it works, and it's working so far. Is it sustainable? Only time will tell. Can Harry Kane continue to play CDM? Who knows? Can Song continue to play left wing back? Who knows? we can only see what's happening. But right now, whatever he's doing, it's working. But in saying that, we've got Liverpool, who have got their own issues. I know the biggest thing is all the injuries that they've got. But as we said, against Fulham, they took the game to them. But I think one of the biggest issues for Liverpool is the form of Mane. He's kind of gone off the boil at the moment. And that front three as a whole has kind of gone off the boil at the moment. Why do you think that is?
It's difficult. With Liverpool, I feel I have to just put it down to injuries because they haven't been able to name, they're the only team that's made more changes than we have. We made changes just because we don't like the personnel. Liverpool have made changes because the injuries have just hit them badly.
Yeah.
Yotta's now out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And he was
like,
on
where did that
fire.
come from?
Yeah, he was on fire. He's out for 8 weeks. Obviously missing the linchpin in Van Dijk is huge for them. Matip's now out, so you got defense now. Yeah, Matip's out.
Oh my days.
Yeah, Matip's out. So
Joe Gomez is out.
You're playing. It's like you're playing Fabinho and a kid in the middle that takes away from the midfield because Fabinho is so important in midfield. You're forced to play Jordan Henderson and Thiago Silva, and like you got one headless chicken there. Thiago Silva doesn't have much protection.
No, Thiago's still injured.
Thiago's still injured.
Yeah,
I'm saying Thiago.
Their midfield three was Henderson. It's been Henderson, Wijnaldum, and that Jones.
Jones is a bit old, so that's one of the issues. That's come from it now because Fabinho's not playing. Fabinho is very important in their midfield for them. Wherever he adds in defense, he takes away from midfield. So Fabinho missing it's a huge thing for them. Injuries have hit them real bad this season, and for me, it's affected their style of play. With Liverpool, it's such a fine line. Mane and Salah have to score because we know Firmino doesn't. The time one of them stops scoring, it's a huge issue. Because then you've got two people. Firmino's never ever going to grab you a goal a game or 2 goals, or he's not that type of player. He does a lot of dirty work. So Salah and Mane can be effective. So on that point, I think Liverpool have done really well to actually be up there.
It's true.
I think they've been any other team would have
folded.
Yeah. So they've done really well to be up there. So it's hard for them. It's hard for them because the injuries are so such long-term injuries. I don't know how they recover without making it to January and making signings. So it's a hard one to call, really and truly.
It's nuts, and as I didn't even realize, like I said, I didn't know that Matip was out. But when you list the names of the injuries, I mean, they've got three centre backs out, three centre backs out. You're holding midfielder at centre back. You're having to play a kid in centre midfield, talented kid, but a kid nonetheless in centre midfield. Obviously, Trent's only just come back from injury. James Milner's out. Mr. Versatility it has been out as well. And then obviously losing Jota, who's started the season absolutely on smoke. So that's eight players that I've named there. Hello, Thiago. I mean, he was the one that was supposed to be that difference.
Yeah.
He's the one that was supposed to be playing them killer passes so that the players could get more goals. So it's crazy when you think about it. And as you said, it's a testament to Klopp and how great he is to have this team still top of the league and still in the title race. Because if it was man like Oli, bruv, we'd be bottom with Sheffield United if we had those sort of injuries.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask though, saying all that, who is the pressure more on to win this game? Is it Liverpool? Because Liverpool at home. Liverpool at home, isn't it?
It's Liverpool at home, yeah.
Liverpool, because Liverpool at home, or is it Spurs purely because of what I just said, the amount of injuries that Liverpool have had? It's the best time to be playing them. Let's be honest.
I don't think, for me, Liverpool can't be favourites in this game just because the amount of injury. If you take the injuries in itself into account, I think they are there for the taking. it's up to Tottenham to go and take the game to Liverpool as title contenders. When you are a title contender, you need to strike when your opponent is at their weakest. Liverpool are at one of their weakest points, so it's up for Mourinho and Tottenham to go and make a statement about being title contenders. And as you said, Mourinho is an amazing front runner. So if he wins this, Tottenham are top, and
Massive
then
statement.
exactly, and so he can do what he likes to do. If they were to lose this game, for me, it will not be an easy recovery for Tottenham, because for me they're on the precipice at the moment because they're just getting over the line in games. Even the last 5 or 6 games, I think a lot of them, they've got last minute winners. They're winning by the odd goal. So it's not like it's smooth. It's not like they're beating teams easily. So they're on the precipice. But if they were to win this game, it'd be a huge statement. So, and I don't know what Mourinho is telling them. They have to think like that. I honestly feel that he's going to try go out there for a draw, which is the wrong mentality. A draw doesn't really do anything for Tottenham but keep them there. But if they were to go out and win, it would be a huge, huge statement. Liverpool, for me, they could recover whether they win or lose, to be honest. I think Liverpool will recover. I don't think it's going to affect them too much. I think they still go out and win the next game. Tottenham, though, if they were to lose, I'm unsure if they were to go out and win the next game, especially easily.
Fair enough. And is it the big game of the midweek fixtures, of the top of the table clash? It hurts for both of us to say it because it's 2 teams that neither of us like very much. But yes, we shall find out what happens in the next coming days and watch this space to see what happens in the title race. But we are going to wrap up with another predictions. So truth, reel them off.
Let's start. So first game is going to be Wolves-Chelsea.
Boy.
2 teams that are just coming off losses. Both Chelsea were going guns, so it was a huge blow to them to lose that game against Everton. Wolves, I said, have just been up and down. Don't know what Wolves you're going to get.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
I was literally looking at a 1-1 too. Just because of what happened last season with Tammy scoring a hat-trick he scored at Wolves.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I'm just going to go 3-1 to Chelsea this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I go 3-1 Chelsea.
Wow.
But this is a game where I'm not surprised if Wolves were to go and sneak a victory. I honestly wouldn't. I think Lampard, being a new manager, I don't think he can navigate his way easily out of that loss against Everton because they were toothless in that game. So if he was to turn it around, good on him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves go and end up doing over Chelsea. But I'm going to go 1-3 to Chelsea. Next game, Man City, West Brom. I think that's a gimme, but stranger things have happened.
Nah, I think City win that 3-0. I think it's comfortable.
Yeah, I would hope it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Because West Brom, as you saw against Newcastle, I mean, they put up a fight, but at the end of the day, they end up losing anyway.
To be fair, they do put up a fight, but they put up a fight and something happens to make them lose. They've been a bit unlucky. Sendings off, VAR not working out for them. City to win 3-0 for me.
I'm going 4-0 City. I expect a beating. Okay. First up on Wednesday, one of the big ones, Arsenal Southampton.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go with what came into my head as soon as you said it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2. You're being kind.
I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I just think Arteta can't afford to lose. And I think Aubameyang's going to break his duck. I think he has to. But I also think Theo will score as well. I think, 2-2. I'm going 2-2 draw, man.
You're being kind. As I said, I never predict us to lose. I really like Southampton. I've become a huge Southampton fan, a
Yeah,
real
that's
Housen fan since they've turned around that 9-0 to where they are now.
yeah,
I've got a
big job.
lot of time for them.
Mm.
So,
Play good football too.
Yeah, they do. Because I'm a huge Southampton fan, I'm going to give them a 1-1. I'm going to give them a 1-1.
Fair enough.
Next game, Leicester versus Everton. Leicester had a good win over Brighton. Do we know?
I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Leicester win.
2-1 Leicester. I'm unsure, that 1-0 at Everton against Chelsea really that was amazing for them because they kind of hit a brick wall. But that 1-0 at Chelsea. 2-2. Go 2-2 for this one.
Yeah, that game could easily be a draw.
Yeah. I expect high scoring because both teams are not great defensively, especially Everton. But attacking wise, they're both decent going forward.
It's true.
Should be another good game. Leeds versus Newcastle.
Hard
one to predict.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Leeds.
2-0 Leeds.
It's just the way that they play football, man. They look like they can concede
all the time, innit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Leeds. 2-1 Leeds. Yeah, 2-1 Leeds. Yeah. Just because I think they're gonna concede, as you said. Battle at the bottom. Fulham versus Brighton.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Brighton win.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
2-1 Brighton win. Okay. This one's impossible to predict for me. I don't like bottom of the table clashes because you just
don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it could go either way. I'm going to give Fulham a 1-0 just because of the way they played against Liverpool. Actually, but then there's no fans allowed again, so
it's true.
I think the fans really helped them against Liverpool.
They did. Yeah, London's back in tier 3, people.
I know.
As of Wednesday.
I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1. Yeah. Then the big game, Liverpool versus Tottenham. What's your predictions for that?
One.
1-1. Keep playing it safe.
1-1.
Playing it safe. Fair enough. I'm going to go. Remember my rule, I never ever predict a Liverpool win, a Tottenham win. I'm going to go but I don't feel it at all. Even though I'm saying I don't feel it. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I'm not confident on that. I'm not confident saying that at all. So I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. London derby, West Ham versus Crystal Palace. West Ham just staying up there.
No.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's a game that could be 0-0.
No Moisey, we trust.
I don't know. I just think they're both going to cancel each other out. I think it's going to be
fair
0-0.
enough. I do feel a tight game. I'm going to go for one. Got loads of draws this week. Big draws. I'm going with 1-1 again. As you said, I feel they're going to cancel each other out. They both play in a pragmatic way.
Mm.
I don't know who's going to attack who, so I'm just going to go 1-1. Aston Villa Burnley.
Oh.
Both had great wins.
One 0 Villa.
I agree with you. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Villa for this one. And the last game, your boys, you guys playing Thursday. No, your last game. Sheffield United versus Man United.
6-1 Sheffield United.
The Sheffield United team are done. They are done.
You know what? I'm not even going to lie to you. Something's telling me that this will be Sheffield United's first win of the season.
No way. No way. I don't see it. I'm sorry. That game against Leicester ended Sheffield United's season. Ended it. That giving away that last minute goal. You saw it against crap, who did they play? Southampton. You know, you saw it against them. They had nothing left. That game just took their soul from them against Southampton. It was an easy game for Southampton.
I'm gonna say 3-1 United.
3-1.
3-1 United, but it wouldn't surprise me if Sheffield United went on 1-2-0. I'm gonna go 3-1 United.
I'm gonna go 3-0 United. I don't see Sheffield United scoring. I don't think they got no weapons. I don't think they have anything to score. I know Brewster's gonna try to score because being a Liverpool boy, but nah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything for Sheffield United. So one time I actually predict United are gonna win, you know. But as you said, I wouldn't be surprised if Sheffield United go pull out a 0-0 or maybe a 1.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But that is it from us, folks. Thank you for your time. I say thanks to the Truth for his time. I know it's a difficult one for him at the moment with what's going on at his football club. But
look,
hey,
we are just trying to get to the magical 40 points. That's what it is from now. We're looking up, trying to get to that 40 points so we know we're safe, and then, you know.
Oh, dear. You know the world's gone nuts when Arsenal fans are saying we're looking for the 40-point mark to avoid relegation. I'm telling you. But yes, people, before we go, as we say all the time, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. We got way more content coming up. We got basketball talk coming up next as we prepare for that to start next week. Obviously, we've got fixtures coming up on the weekend as well in terms of football, and so much more to come, people. But thank you very much for your time. Stay safe. All you Londoners, Tier 3 from Wednesday is going to be depressing times, but let's just make the most of the time that we have. Thank you very much. Peace.
Out.